Okay, so I put Celtic, Hearts, and Rangers in the Premier League. I swapped them for Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton because those were the three teams who got relegated, just to see how they would do in England. I did it for 5 years just to see how they would do over the 5 years because many people say if Celtic, Rangers mainly were in the Premiership for a few years with the money they could earn in the Premiership, they would be challenging for the title. So I put them in for 5 years just to see how they done. So if we look at, well, we can start off with the Carabao Cup. If we look at the Carabao Cup in the 5 years that I did it with them, they lost in the third round, fourth round, semi final on aggregate to Liverpool, quarter final on penalties, and fourth round. So the best they did was in the third year, nearly getting to the final, but losing to Liverpool, who are obviously a strong team in England. So they can't be too disappointed with that. Obviously, I know Celtic fans would want a trophy, but they did come close with the Carabao Cup. In the FA Cup, they lost to Brighton in the quarterfinals, which they might be disappointed with because Brighton are a good team, but they're not one of the best teams in the league. Southampton in the third round, which is early. Ipswich in the third round, which is early. Liverpool, fifth round after extra time. Liverpool again, and Bournemouth. So they might be disappointed with that. Could have better performances. Champions League qualifications only in the first year because obviously from me transferring them over, they were still in the Champions League and they finished fourth in the group stage, so they didn't get far. And if we go to the Premier Division, oh wow, look. So in the first year they did decent. They finished 12th, which is not too bad. But look, second year just managed to stay in the league by one spot, and then in the third season they got relegated, and then they went to the championship, and then they got promoted from the championship, and they finished 11th, which is their best finish. So that in the fifth season they got their best finish when they just got promoted from the championship with a respectable 46 points, which isn't too bad. Let's look at the championship. They finished second, so they didn't finish first, but they finished second, which isn't too bad. So now let's look. If we go to the transfers, we can go through the transfers. So in the first year, when they did okay, they spent the most of their money on this guy, a fullback who has some decent stats, nothing major. Looking at all of these people though, I'm not familiar with most of them. Um, they, oh wow, he's got some decent stats, but not all of them's got no pace, but he's got decent movement. So they bought some decent players, but no one like overly well known. If you go into the second year, look, wow, they spent a big sum of money for Celtic on a defender who's now at Everton, interestingly, who's got some decent stats as well. But when you spend this kind of money, you expect to finish higher up, and this is the season they just managed to stay in the league. Look, Sessignon, Dangana, Adebayo, Dahoud, they bought some players like that people who play the game or people who know football are familiar with, but they only finished, I think it was 17th. And then we go here. Also, they actually bought Sessignon. They actually bought, but look, they also got Tavernier on loan, Ndidi on loan, and this is the season they went down. Pedro Lima, uh, oh, still backup goalkeeper. But so they bought some decent players as well. So Dean Henderson as well, who's a well-known goalkeeper. So they bought some decent players, but they still got relegated. Then you're looking at the Championship side, Tavernier again for more money. I don't understand that. Oscar, um, Lavia, who's just gone to Chelsea from Southampton, like Solomon. So this Brandon Williams as well. So this is some decent players, which is would oh look, Ashley Phillips as well. You can understand why they got promoted from the Championship, and then the last season where they done the best, they didn't spend too much. They got Hannibal, who's obviously at Man United now. Somerville, who many people are talking about is going to leave Leeds. The goalkeeper who's was Irish number one, he's facing that with Kelleher, and this guy attacking mid left decent. So yeah, they've done decently, finishing 11th in the Premier Division this season, as you can see, which is a decent finish for them. If we look at average ratings, no, I don't want to look at that competitions. I'm looking at competitions, Celtic overview competitions. Here we go. You can see that this striker for them, South Korean, got the most goals for them in the league, so they'll be happy with that. Premiership rating is not the highest though, 6.78. You'd want a bit higher. FA Cup did really well, 7.47. Average rating, top goal scorer, sorry, and highest average rating in the FA Cup was the same person. A top goal scorer in the Carabao Cup was this guy, Greek striker. And if we scroll, no, it wasn't. Not going to show me. Okay, but yeah, let me know if you think that is decent for Celtic, and if you would have expected more from Celtic. Let me know in the comments. All right. Next, let's look at Rangers. Oh, so as you can see right now, they're in the Championship, which many people are not going to be happy with. So if we go back to Premier Division, so they got relegated in their first season, finishing 18th with just 32 points, which isn't the greatest season for them. Then they went to the Championship and they finished first with 90 points, which is solid. And then they went back to the Premier Division. They finished 14th, which is a decent finish. It's not the highest, but it's respectable with 46 points, so they could be happy with that. But then the season after that, they got relegated. Look, they finished bottom of the league. They can't be happy with that, going from 14th to 20th. And then if we go back to the Championship, you can see now, look, they're 9th. They finished 9th, which they won't be happy with because there'll be another season in the Championship for them. If we go to their transfer history, if we go all the way back to the beginning, again, no one of notice. We've got Ogbonna, who's got a lot of experience. Oh look, they got Carlos Vela, who everyone knows, who's done really well in America. Alex Vidal, I think he was the guy, the winger that was at Barcelona. So they did okay in terms of signings, didn't they? They didn't like spend a lot of money, but there's some respectable signings here. This centre back's got some decent stats. He's still at the club. He's got some decent stats. You'd be happy with those stats going into the league. But yeah, it wasn't the best of seasons for them. And then when you look the season after, who did they buy? They got the Leeds youngster striker who's got good potential, or has good potential at the beginning of the game. Semenyo from Bournemouth. Yeah, him who was at Brighton for a bit. This midfielder not got the greatest of stats. Mbabu, that if you play FIFA is a FIFA legend. Jaden Anthony, Gruich on loan, who was obviously at Liverpool. Archie Gray, who's recently just gone to Tottenham in real life. But look, they bought Archie Gray as well. So they did spend a bit of money, and they did spend it on some decent players. So it's surprising that they've struggled so much and that they've been in and out of the Championship. If you look at this is where it's changed. This must have been when they were in the Championship, so they spent the majority of money on him. Got a couple of free. Oh look, they got this guy from Sunderland as well, winger. Doesn't look like he's got the greatest of stats. So this season doesn't look like it was the best of seasons in terms of signings. The season after that, oh look, they got this guy, I don't know him. Stats don't look that great though. They got Nakamba, who was at Villa and then went to Luton. Jaden Heskey, who's obviously Emil's son. Thomas Partey on a free, wow. So Thomas Partey, who obviously we know from Arsenal. Jose Sarr from Wolves, who's now at Real Madrid there. Isaac Success as well, who was the striker that was at Watford for a bit. So they are signing some players of standards. So I don't know why they're finishing so low. And this is the season where they've just finished 9th in the league, in the Championship. And they got, look, this goalkeeper, which is a really good goalkeeper because he plays for Georgia, obviously, but he was playing in the Spanish First Division. Look, Billin, Emerson, is that Emerson from Tottenham? No, it's not. It's the Emerson left back from West Ham. Wilson Estebrand, who's like, these are all players that people would have heard of. So they're all decent players. Look, someone from Real Madrid and Barcelona, but they just didn't do well in the Championship obviously getting relegated from the Prem. So it has been disappointing for them. I know Rangers fans, I'm not going to like this, especially when I've spoken to a few and they said that if Rangers were in in England or the Premier League, that they would get loads of points at home because the atmosphere they create there is really good and teams would struggle to play their football there. So people are not going to be happy with that, seeing that Rangers are ninth in the Championship. And last but not least, Hearts, who I believe finished third in Scotland, which is why I put them in here, because obviously the transfer's free. Free relegated, free promoted. That's why I swapped the three teams over. As you can see at the moment, they're third. They finished third in League One, so they have not had a good time from starting in the Premiership. So let's go back to competitions again. So if we go to Premier Division, look, they finished bottom of the league with 12 points, which is really low. They only managed to win 2 of the games. So a really bad season for them in the Premiership. And then when they were in the Championship, they managed to finish 17th, which was decent. Well, not decent, but like it's not relegated. And then look, 23rd, which I believe is relegated. And then look, twice in a row they finished third, but this last season they finished third with less points than they did the season before, so they can't be happy with that. If we look at the transfers, we can see they got Elliot Emberton, who's obviously known, but look, they bought someone from Portsmouth, Swansea, Lincoln, Portsmouth again. No disrespect to these clubs, but for you to stay in the Premiership, I think you need to buy a bit more quality, especially with the Hearts team now. I won't, I would admit it, I don't know too much about them right now, but you would expect that their squad isn't as strong as most Premier League teams, so they would have needed to buy some Premier League quality, and they've been buying players from the lesser leagues, so that wouldn't have helped them stay in the league, which is why they only got 2 wins that season. We look at the second season, and no one really, well, of note. Duncan Watmore, there's a few people that you would have heard of. Ennis as well, you would have heard of. There's a few here that you would have heard of, but again, not many. And the money they're spending is not a lot, which means they don't have a high budget, or the parachute payment or whatever it is that they would have got from getting relegated from the Prem. They didn't invest in the squad, which shows why they would have been struggling. And then this is the season they got relegated. Look, free transfers, 1 loan from Chelsea. The most money they spent was on Humphreys, a defender who's not even at the club no more. He left. So yeah, that's probably why they got relegated, because again, a lack of signings. And then they finished third in League One. Hugo Bueno, the left back who's at Wolves, that's a decent player. I'm surprised he's at that level. But yeah, again, no one really, look, they spent the most of their money on a striker and a defensive mid, which shows they spent a bit of money this season to try and get promoted again. It's more money they've spent than most of the seasons we've gone through, but they finished third that season. And then here they finished third on less points than they did last season. And as you can see, they brought in a few players, but no one permanently. 4 loans, no 3 loans, sorry, 1 on a free transfer. And yeah, so no money spent really, which is not great. And look, they sold a few of their players as well for 4.1 mil. So they finished third in League One. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you think this would be an accurate reflection of if the Scottish teams went into England and started in the Premiership, or if you think this is rubbish. Just let me know. Like, comment and subscribe, all that good stuff. There's other videos on the channel like this. If you'd like to see specific teams or specific things happen in the football world, let me know and I'll try and get it done for you guys. But yeah, it's been your boy L to the T. Take care and peace.